one. Jamie was sell for 1%. I am joined by. Hello. Joined by head broker Dave Barlow, my brother Jason.
Hello, Jamie.
Mike Hopper.
Hey, Jamie.
And Mike has a neighborhood of the week, suburb of the week, whatever you want to call it. Mike, you want to get into it here?
Well, keeping on the lines of historic stuff that we've been talking about with the houses and the discussions we got in, I thought German Village would probably be a good one for us to have a conversation about. I won't be able to fit everything about it in here, so I encourage anybody watching to make sure they check out and do some research themselves, because there's a lot of extremely good information in here. German Village is a historic neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. It's just south of the city's downtown. It was settled in the mid-19th century, and of course it was done by a large number of German immigrants, hence the name German Village. It was actually at one time comprised as much as a third of the city's entire population. Became a historic district in 1960, and it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. In 1796, Congress appropriated refugee lands for Canadian province individuals who supported the colonial cause in the American Revolution. By 1802, an American Revolution veteran named John McGowan claimed 328 acres, most of what would become German Village. As German immigrants arrived, McGowan sold tracts of land to them, and then by 1814, a settlement had grown up, originally called Das Alte Sudende. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, the Old South End, and German immigrants contributed to building the first state house. By 1830, massive German immigration to the city had occurred. The most influential German newspaper in 1843 was Der Westbote. Many would serve in the American Civil War, which is something that I actually learned today too. So thus gaining the universal respect of the local citizens. So by 1865, 1/3 of Columbus's population was German, and the community was flourishing. They built up the local neighborhood, including many businesses such as the House and Hour Jewelers, the Lazarus department stores, schools and churches such as the Ohio Historic St. Mary's Catholic Church as well, which was built in 1865. And that's the one with the 197-foot steeple, which apparently they completed in 1893. So they did a lot. Yeah, they did a lot here. I mean, it's a huge part of the city's history, and I didn't realize that it was pretty much the entire population for a while. And then I was laughing because I know we were talking about the Lazarus department stores, and they're the ones who actually founded some of those businesses. All right.
Yeah, Lazarus's, the Wolves, who did the newspaper.
Yep.
There was a tremendous amount of influence, and of course, don't forget all the breweries.
Yes, which is still a huge thing down in that area too. Yeah.
The brewery district, if you will.
I was thinking more about the cream puffs at Schmidt's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please. A Bahama Mama. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So in World War I, the area was in serious decline. It was obviously the first half of the 20th century, and that was due to anti-German sentiment during World War I. During that time, the teaching of German in public schools was banned, and German textbooks were burned. German street names were changed, such as Germania Street becoming the present-day Stewart Avenue, and Schiller Park was temporarily renamed Washington Park. The anti-German sentiment fueled by the media was so bad in 1918 that German books were burned on Broad Street and at the foot of the Schiller statue. I didn't see this, it got crazy. German canine breeds were taken from their owners and slaughtered, including all the shepherds and dachshunds.
Wow.
Despite the hatred, Columbus German-American community would produce one of America's finest heroes from the war, Captain Eddie Rickenbacker, which we know now is Rickenbacker International Airport in the South Columbus.
The old flying ace.
That's right. So further decline occurred later due to the closing of the local breweries we just talked about during Prohibition. So after the war, the South End was zoned for manufacturing, leading to the erosion of the area's residential field. In World War II, the streetcar tracks and wrought iron fences were confiscated by the war effort, and by the 1950s, the area had become a slum, and the city decided to demolish 1/3 of the neighborhood, which is, I didn't know that. That's even crazier in itself. So the renewal Frank Fetch is what they call it. With the village nearing complete destruction, Frank Fetch defined the common wisdom and purchased a house on South Wall Street, determined to rebuild the neighborhood. Fetch would create the German Village Society in 1960. They hosted the first house and garden tour, which attracted visitors and local media to 8 restored homes and 2 gardens. And today the tour is one of the city's most popular events. Frank Fetch Park was named after him. They did obviously put together historic preservation by the German Village Commission. That way they had power over external changes made to the buildings by getting an area listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1975, like we discussed. Modern day German Village, the area is mostly residential neighborhood. The best part is like we talked about in our home of the week, they're made of sturdy red bricks homes with wrought iron fencing along the tree lined and brick paved streets. The German Village Guest House has been recognized as one of the best in the Midwest by New York Post and the Plain Dealer, and positively reviewed by the Washington Post. So it was rated the best Columbus hotel in 2010, which I didn't know either, because I haven't been there and I don't remember if I've driven by it or not. The German Village Guest House. Have you guys been there or seen that?
I've been by it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never stayed there.
Okay.
The bookstore there is awesome too. They've got a great bookstore. It's like just like rows and rows of aisles. It's all narrow. I forget the name of the bookstore right now.
Yeah.
All the ones we decided not to burn in World War One.
Yeah, right. But again, a historical society saving things from being demolished for, mainstream corporate locations and stuff like that. So it's a good thing that there's a lot of this stuff that was saved, because think about how much history we'd lose if it wasn't.
Right.
Obviously, one of the biggest things with the German culture is Oktoberfest. It's long reigned in the community in the form of the annual Oktoberfest festival. It originally took place in Schiller Park, but it's been held at various locations within German Village. Due to the new development in the area, it now takes place at the Ohio State Fairgrounds and the Expo Center. It was voted to be canceled in 2009, but the Schmidt, obviously the owners of Schmidt's Sausage House, and the Cox family stepped in to keep it running. A similar Oktoberfest still goes on in German Village itself at the Germania Gesang und Sportverein Singing and Sports Club on 53 South Front Street. So I didn't realize that it was supposed to be canceled in 2009, and the Schmidts came in and made sure they kept it alive. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's great. It's good stuff.
Lots of parks and recreation down there. Schiller Park, named after the gentleman we spoke about in 1805. He was once a community meeting ground for German immigrants. It's now the site of the recreational facilities, gardens, and amphitheater that hosts a lot of live performances of Shakespearean plays during the summer months. The Actors Theater of Columbus puts that stuff on. Residential wise, the houses of German Village, very close together, very narrow plots. It's a super unique area for you to go down and take a look. While there's a lot of that stuff in that part of town, German Village, you can really see it because it's been, like in Southern Orchards, it's not fully built up yet, but in German Village, everything's very nice. It's well kept, and you can actually see what they fit on these tiny lots, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It is stacked with restaurants and bars. Katzinger's Deli, which I absolutely love going to Katzinger's. We used to get a lot of food from there if we were hosting parties. Schmidt's Sausage House. Excuse me. Oh, I love Schmidt's. We were talking about the Bahama Mamas. And Katzinger's. What else is down there? Sorry, Thurman Cafe.
It's the Book Loft, by the way. The bookstore is the Book Loft.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So Thurman Cafe is down there.
Yep.
Absolutely love that. And then there's one more. So German Village was home to the first restaurant in Max and Irma's chain in 1972. That was one I found interesting as well, because I used to love going to Max and Irma's and get their burgers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just closed the original one not too long ago.
Did they? The one down there?
Yeah.
I would imagine that's a German-based restaurant. Because I know the Schmitz family, their son Max, who played for the Ohio Machine on lacrosse, maybe Max is a German name.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Irma seems very German.
Well,
So
that was
Capital-
the famous battle between Eddie Rickenbacker and the flying ace of the Germans. His name was Max.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there you go.
So in 1831, the German Evangelical Lutheran Seminary secured 14 acres in the South End, and it was founded by William Schmidt, a graduate of the University of Halle in Germany. The school would go on to become what's known as Capital University. So that's still under the leadership of the Lutheran Church, and now located in nearby Bexley. So I didn't realize that either. They actually were the prominent founders of Capital University.
That's cool.
Yep. The arts and athletics, there's a whole thing down there with the arts and athletics, and like I said, we're getting pretty far deep into this. I kind of just wanted to give the history of the area, some of the things that you can do down there. Even though it's in the city, they have some wonderful parks and recreation for you to participate in. German Village is on the more expensive side of places to live. The price ranges vary quite a bit down there, and most of it's been redone by now. But there are other places that are close, like Marion Village and Southern Orchards, that are more affordable area for buyers who are looking to get that feel, but still be able to have walking distance to everything that it offers too. Obviously butting up to Schumacher Place as well. So excellent part of town, lots of history, very unique. I would encourage anybody to take a Sunday afternoon and go down there and walk and grab something from Schmidt's, especially the cream puffs. They're my favorite, but that's German Village.
That's awesome. One of my favorite stories about German Village is right there on Schiller Park. I think there's 9 houses that face the park, and they're all identical, and they're called the Brewmeister houses. And so if you were a brewmeister for one of the big breweries there in German Village back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, these owners built this row of houses for their brewmeister to live in.
No
And
kidding.
they're all identical, and very, very cool that, again, we still have that history here in Columbus. So that's a good one. I like that. Thanks, Mike. Good.
Now I feel like I need to go to Schmidt's after we end this. So
We'll meet there this afternoon.
Get some sauerkraut.
Oh yes.
Perfect. All right, Mike. Thank you.
Yes, sir.